Whether you operate one forklift or thousands, one location or hundreds, the new My Toyota customer portal can help you optimize your operation and material handling equipment. This one-stop, free-to-use platform is designed to help you take control of your information and make smarter decisions, all at the touch of a button. Register and access your data today at my.toyotaforklift.com. That's my.toyotaforklift.com.
With e-commerce off the charts, many small and growing warehouses are asking, how can I get ahead when my warehouse is barely keeping up? The answer is future-ready warehouse tech from Zebra Technologies. Warehouses can simplify and upgrade all processes, from automated inventory management to hands-free picking, with Zebra's tailored, scalable mobile solutions. They're simple and intuitive. There's never been a better time to upgrade for success with Zebra. How can your warehouse get ahead? The answer's in black and white. Get the answers at zebra.com/theanswer. That's zebra.com/theanswer. Fulfillment demand continues to skyrocket and outpace available labor. To keep up, warehouse operators are turning to flexible fulfillment solutions like 6 River Systems. Utilizing 6 River Systems' award-winning combination of collaborative robots, artificial intelligence, and operational expertise will make your associates and wall-to-wall fulfillment workflow more efficient. No new infrastructure, no change to warehouse layout, easy to deploy and scale, easy to train and retain associates, all at half the cost of traditional automation. Want to take your fulfillment operation to the next level? Go to www.6river.com to learn more. That's www.6river.com to learn more.
The New Warehouse Podcast, hosted by Kevin Lawton, is your source for insights and ideas from the distribution, transportation, and logistics industry. A new episode every Monday morning brings you the latest from industry experts and thought leaders. And now, here's Kevin.
Hey, it's Kevin Lawton with the New Warehouse Podcast, bringing you a new episode today. On today's episode, I am going to be joined by James Sramek, and he is Enterprise Sales at SmartBOL. So we're going to talk about BOLs today. We're going to talk all about BOLs. First, we're going to get into the basics, just go over the concept of a BOL, and then we're going to dive into what actually makes smart BOLs smart and how are they smart. We're going to talk a little bit about how that technology has kind of helped to create contactless environments, or at least improve the contactlessness, if that's even a word. I'll make it up right there, of an environment and a company, and how Smart BOL is kind of helping companies do that and accommodate these new COVID guidelines and social distancing matters and things of that nature. So, James, welcome to the show. How are you?
Kevin, thanks for having me. I'm doing great.
Yeah, happy to have you. Happy we could finally connect. I think we've been trying to do this maybe since the summer, right?
Yeah, a little bit inner back and forth. Everybody's been busy.
Yeah.
Hopefully for good reasons.
Yeah, hopefully this year, definitely, right? Want it to be good for good reasons. So why don't we, before we get into really what is Smart BOL and what does Smart BOL do, let's do like a little schoolwork here, a little study, right? So tell us, what's the basics of a BOL? What is a BOL, first of all? What does BOL stand for? Let's get that out of the way.
BOL. So a BOL is Bill of Lading, or ladings in some realms. So it's basically kind of like a receipt. Mm-hmm. So from a shipper to a driver. So the driver comes and kind of signs off on this bill of lading that they're picking up, X amount of widgets on X amount of pallets, and they are going to bring them to the receiver at the other end and do all the signatures in the process. And when they're signing off on this bill of lading at the shipper, they're basically taking it's a contract. They're basically taking control that, hey, they're going to get these goods there. They're taking all liability in most cases for that, and they're pretty much guaranteeing, hey, we're not gonna drive this semi off the side of a cliff or do whatever, and get your goods there to the receiver at the other end.
Right, and very important. It's just a piece of paper, right? Essentially, but it's very important because it's, like you said, it's like a contract almost, and it's confirming that this product was picked up and that when it's delivered, this product was received as well. So much kind of balances and hangs on just this little piece of paper. It's a little crazy. Single
piece of paper. A lot of stuff hangs on that piece of paper. Mm-hmm. You can have complex bill of ladings. They've tried to make standards from a straight bill of lading to what's called a VIX bill of lading. Try to make standards in the industry because everybody's piece of paper looks a little bit different, but it's all basically the same thing. It's going to list out all the contents that are being put in the truck, where you're delivering them to, and that driver or that driving company carrier is going to sign off and take liability for that shipment, and they're signing a contract right there.
Definitely, yeah. Being in the warehousing world, and especially in customer complaint researching and quality control standpoint, there's been many occasions where I've had to pull a BOL for proof, right, that something shipped or something was picked up. So definitely very important, and definitely important to keep a record of them as well, right? Yeah, for sure, without a doubt. So now we kind of talk about what is a BOL, what's the basics of the BOL for those listeners that may not be familiar, or may have heard the term but weren't totally familiar with what exactly it is. So you guys are Smart BOL now, right? So everything is kind of becoming smart in the world, right? We got smart TVs, we got smart light bulbs, we got Alexa, whatever. I talk to something and it turns on, or it knows what's going on. But what we just talked about, right? The basic concept of a BOL, we talked about, it's a piece of paper, right? It's a contract, right? So what is Smart BOL, and how have you taken the traditional BOL and made it into quote unquote smart, right? Gotcha.
Yeah. So really, what the smart process is on our side is digitizing that piece of paper that's been traditionally carried by a truck driver. They have to go into some type of shipment office. They have to sign off on all these pieces of paper. If there's, for example, a consolidated shipment, they might have to sign their name 100 times. And some of them have, come up with stamps that they just stamp their name, but still they're stamping 100 times. So we take the bill of lading process, digitize it. We put it in an electronic environment that a driver can come and sign one time, sign off on all those bills of lading at one time. They can do it with their finger on a touchpad. They can do it with a mouse. We have quite a few different interfaces for this. So we have like a kiosk operation that goes a little bit further, that the driver can check in, let the facility know that they're there, they're ready to pick things up. They can then check out after everything's loaded, sign off on the documents one time. We also have an in-cab mobile feature with, obviously, we can get into the contactless environment in a little bit, but we've provided features like that so a driver could sign on a smartphone within their cab, never have to enter the warehouse or be around people in the warehouse or shipping offices. And that's really how we made the initial part of it smart. Now, the signature, when it's digitized, will all be in a central repository for a warehouse to be able to access immediately. So, like you were saying, if you had to find something at a warehouse, you probably had to dig through a file cabinet. This way you could just pull something up, knowing a bill of lading number or shipment number or date. There's quite a few ways to search for it. So kind of creates a whole repository. And then we have, proof of delivery on the other side. So the receiver can accept the whole load. They can say that there was, possible damaged pallets. We kind of take the whole paperwork process out of the situation and create this electronic bill of lading. And it's a little bit more, obviously the search capabilities are great, not having to print everything out is great. That's really the smart feature. So moving more in the app world, the kiosk world, more in the electronic environment is where we're really trying to push things from, just having this piece of paper that a driver would be carrying around and then having to return to a warehouse or a shipper some way, maybe a fax machine, or maybe they just return it in person. This way is real time. Everything's instantly done. So
interesting. So talk me through the life cycle of the SmartBOL, right? Because I understand. I guess I understand the point of pickup, right? So now it's the shipper, right, that would have the SmartBOL, I guess, platform or interface.
Yeah.
Okay. So then,
in many cases, sometimes the receiver does as well. So
yeah, that was going to be my next question. So what happens if the shipper has SmartBOL, but then the receiver doesn't? How do they confirm like the receipt?
So basically, in the platform, in the SmartBOL platform, they can confirm the receipt. We can just shoot the receiver an email, and it's a one-time link for them to sign off. They can check all the boxes line by line, saying if anything's damaged. All goes back to a shipping number that can either be generated by the shipper, or we auto-generate. Everything's sent by text message to the driver, electronic emails sent to the receivers as well. So everything kind of ties back together. And when the shipper looks in the portal, as we call it, that's kind of the central hub. They can look everything up by the single bill of lading. They can see that the receiver acknowledged. They can see the signatures of the carrier. All the documentation's right there. They don't have to worry about a driver returning this paperwork that could have ketchup stains on it from the driver's lunch, or could have been lost. Or
I've definitely seen those. Yeah. When they lose the paperwork, that's like the worst. I mean, you already. Yeah, I mean, the warehouse and stuff already doesn't like the truck drivers anyway. So, when they come in and mess something up, then it's an even bigger deal. So, but
losing paperwork's not fun. Yeah, and the whole audit process. I mean, we get a lot of companies that are just, maybe they went through an audit last year, they couldn't find half their paperwork.
Yeah, this
gives a real simplified way for that to happen.
Yeah, without a doubt. And you mentioned before, going through filing cabinets. I mean, I've seen situations where it's not filing cabinets; it's pallets of banker boxes, right? I gotta pull them down, right, and take a look. So now I'm curious, because I always like to, I guess I like continuous improvement and things of that nature. So at some point, I guess how SmartBOL was started, somebody must have said like, this traditional way of doing BOLs with paper and everything is crazy, and I can't stand it. So I'm curious, how did SmartBOL get started, and what was the initial idea behind it?
We'll be back after a quick break.
You hear a lot about supply chains these days, because if the past couple years have taught us anything, it's that an efficient, well-managed supply chain is absolutely critical to keeping businesses successful and consumers happy. I'm Will Haywood, and I host a podcast called All Business, No Boundaries, where we talk about supply chains, how they work, what happens when they don't, and the innovations that are redefining what's possible in the world of logistics. Join me for insightful interviews with thought leaders and industry experts. We discuss how optimizing supply chains can break down the barriers that are holding businesses back. That's All Business, No Boundaries by DHL Supply Chain. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Sure. So kind of started off more as a Microsoft software-based application. Moved into the cloud kind of environment with Topaz signature pads, which is basically like the old school way that you would sign a credit card receipt with like at a Target or a Walmart or what have you. Then as tablets and different electronic devices started getting more mainstream, lower cost, we evolved into using iPads and Microsoft services as a better way for signature capture. on our kiosk platforms, on our mobile platforms, with smartphones and whatnot. So there's definitely been an evolution as technology kind of decreased in price and was more available, that we integrated and kind of went from an on-premise software, which we can still offer, to more of a cloud solution where, if you had 10 different warehouses, all these warehouses could access the same information at the same time in the cloud.
Interesting. Yeah, that's great. I think, moving warehousing systems to the cloud, all these different components, I mean, certainly helps. And like you said, with accessing the records and all those things, it makes it so much easier to do. I think it makes it so much faster too, in my experience as well. So, obviously the pandemic has created a lot of new things that we need to do, and with distribution and shipping and receiving as well, trucking, it really hasn't stopped like some other industries. So, but we've had to kind of conform to different guidelines with social distancing and trying to figure out, how do we now all of a sudden make certain things contactless that we never really thought about before, was just a lot of contact, right? So one of these things is obviously, as you mentioned, drivers signing off on BOL, sometimes in the hundreds potentially. Obviously in that situation, they have to come inside your facility, and you don't necessarily know, what other facilities they've been, where else they've been, all these different things, right? And we're taking precautions with employees as well. So as SmartBOL, I mean, obviously no one predicted the pandemic, right? But SmartBOL kind of came into the pandemic already with this sort of contactless solution for this area of the business. So I'm curious, how has that kind of helped companies create more contactless environments and situations during the pandemic this year?
Sure. So I'll kind of rewind a little bit too. So
Sure.
A lot of the features that I've been talking about with the mobile applications, the kiosks, that really came from the pandemic to create a more contactless environment.
Interesting.
We always had the ability to do this. Our first iteration of the cloud signature capture was, on a touchscreen monitor or tablet, which could always be done. And traditionally it was somebody at a warehouse bringing it up on an iPad, kind of handing it over to the driver. So we kind of rethought that, and created the in-cab mobile solutions as well as the kiosks. And there's kind of variations on how contactless it can be. Obviously with a kiosk, there could be multiple people touching it. So we recommend, simple things like using a Q-tip. Obviously, if they can do it on a smartphone in their cab, that's the best case scenario. And then sending the receiver the email is definitely contactless. So we're trying to keep everybody as separate as possible. There is some types of middle ground and some precautions that probably need to be taken, like with a kiosk, ATM style checkout process still, as far as sanitizing using a Q-tip or some type of stylus or something like that. But the mobile solutions, best case scenario, that's how we've kind of evolved. I mean, we've been rolling out products since the pandemic kind of started, and it was oddly triggered at Modex last year. That's basically when the pandemic started. It was like middle of
week
March
before everything shut down.
I mean, and there was light attendance there, and we didn't know how far it was going to go. And I was kind of standing in front of our booth, and people are walking by, and I started kind of joking that what if we could show you a way not to spread the coronavirus, to your shippers, your drivers, etc. And that was kind of my line, and people started getting interested, and little did I know that was going to come way more to fruition, and the ones kept on going. So we've definitely been evolving our product line and our features to keep drivers in cabs as much as possible and separated as much as possible, and keep everybody safe for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt, I think that's the number one thing is to keep everybody safe, which we've always done, but now it's just keep them safer in some other ways as well.
We try to ramp up as much as possible. As long as the drivers are willing to do it, and they've been accepting of these applications. It works for everybody.
Yeah, that's great, definitely. And the kiosk now, is that something that can be put outside of the facility, or is it weatherproof, or how does that?
Yeah. So the kiosks, we actually partner with a couple different manufacturers, and they can be put at like a guard gate. It kind of depends on the setup of the shipper for the most part. So some of them have a guard gate that they could do the check-in and check-out right there, or maybe they do a check-in, drive to the loading dock, get loaded, and then they check out on the way out.
Okay.
So there's definitely outside and inside capabilities for that.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. So additionally, as we look at this and, people have been kind of scrambling, I guess, to figure out how do they adapt to these new guidelines and how do they, accommodate the social distancing and what technologies can they kind of quickly implement. So from a SmartBOL perspective, what does implementation look like, and what is that a quick thing? And you said you're cloud-based too, so I imagine it can be pretty quick. Yeah.
Yeah. So we can definitely implement fairly quickly. So one thing that we do is that we actually pull data from a WMS or ERP system in many cases, not in all cases. So that is something that can kind of hold things up a little bit, figuring out what type of process we are going to use to pull that data from, or on the other side, the IT department figuring out how they're going to get us that data. We offer quite a few options on the way to do it. It's mainly just trying to pick which one that they're going to do. So if that's the case, the project's a little bit longer. It's a couple weeks, maybe 4 to 5 weeks or so. If somebody was just saying, hey, I want to use SmartBOL Cloud to generate my bill of lading, and I'm just using you guys, there's no integration with outside parties, I can have you up and running within 2 hours.
Really? Okay. So what is that like? Basically, you manually input the information into the BOL?
Yeah, so we have a manual input. We also have, we save all your products online. We save all your addresses, all your shipping information. So it can be used as a standalone service. We do work with a lot of enterprise organizations that are using things like SAP or HighJump or Blue Yonder or something like that. So they want to integrate that. So that's a little bit more in-depth process, but as a out-of-the-box solution, it works great. A lot of customers use it just as a standalone product, and we can get them up and running, like I said, in hours.
Interesting. Yeah, that's really great. So I guess one question I have too is, as I'm thinking about this, so as you implement SmartBOL, obviously it's going to keep records of all your SmartBOLs. But now, what about the previous, dumb BOLs, like the ones that are not smart, like the old ones, right? Is there a way to kind of upload those into your records as well?
Yeah, we can upload all those previous BOLs through a scanning process, and they can all be in a central repository. So in most cases, that's kind of what companies are doing right now. They're scanning their, BOLs into some type of cloud service. So we can scan them right into SmartBOL. Another thing that we can do is we have a centralized repository. We often, though, will turn around and send those files back to whatever the shipper wants in their cloud environment. Some of them do more advanced analytics. So we send that data back to them as well.
Interesting. Okay. So the data that you're capturing then is not only, I guess, what the BOL is being filled out, but you're also capturing. So when the signature happens, is there an actual like timestamp and capture with that?
Yeah, timestamp. So we have the whole when they checked in, when they checked out. You can see how long that took. I mean, there's quite a few different analytic options. And we also work with a couple analytics partners that can dive a little bit deeper in depth to, things like why was it taking so long to get this loaded, and how could we improve our processes?
Interesting. So is there an option for, because you said before you can note, if there's any damaged product, but I guess is there an option to leave comments like that? Like, oh, there was an issue with the trailer or something like that?
Yeah, definitely. So you can leave comments, you can add additional documents, you can take pictures, you can attach all that information for sure. We also can run reports on a kind of a light analytic service that we offer, and you can kind of gauge, how long it's taking from the check-in process to the checkout process. Why is there bottlenecks at certain times of the week, etc.
Great. Yeah. That's really, really useful, and it really helps to kind of drill down and be able to root cause some potential issues, and also, have some backup as well. If you have a customer that's claiming something that you may not be true, even though they say the customer is always right. Sometimes they might be wrong. But yeah. So, I mean, it sounds like a really great solution, and it sounds like as well with the pandemic, it's become even a better solution too as well. So, it sounds like throughout this year, you guys have been introducing new products and new offerings as well. So I'm curious, what I guess aside from pandemic innovation, I guess I'll call it, what is in the future for SmartBOL? How do you kind of grow this thing, and how does the technology expand?
Ooh, yeah, that's a tough one, So we're rolling out different features all the time, and they've definitely been pandemic driven. I would say that prior to the pandemic, a lot of what we did was a lot of the inquiries that we would get by enterprise or smaller organizations would be because they want to improve their processes in general, streamline processes, increase ROI by not having to print as much, people wasting time scanning. So I believe, we're probably just going to keep on rolling out new iterations of our product and teaching people how to kind of streamline things a bit better. We're in the technology partnership roles, and we're definitely partnering with some large companies right now that we're going to be rolling out in the next couple months, as well as some different data integrations with some of these larger partners that we've spoken with in the past, and we're kind of putting everything together right now. I believe that things can, just get better from an integration standpoint, and how we can roll things out simpler, quicker, get people up and running real fast. I think that COVID was basically a catalyst for us as well.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people,
for inquiries, obviously. And it's not always that they were 100% looking to just for the COVID standpoint, but they could have been looking at this previously, and now they're saying, well, we could protect our employees and, do all these things that we were looking to do in the past. So it's definitely been a driver, and I'm glad that we can help people out and hopefully stay safe. As far as the future, only time will tell. Technology keeps evolving, so we're going to have to keep on going with it.
Yeah, great. And I think you guys have already developed a great product as well. And, it's great. Like you said, the fact that you're continuously improving processes and helping people improve their operational flow overall. But then you just happen to be able to help people stay safe as well, I think is a really, really good thing. So I'm happy that you could come on and share SmartBOL with us. It's a really cool concept, and I think eliminating paper and any chance you get is a great thing. I'm pro eliminating paper, so I think it's a really good thing. Yeah. So how can people find out more information about SmartBOL?
Check us out, smartbol.com. We have quite a few ways to get in contact with us on there, and ways to sign up for demonstrations that we're glad to, show you the whole cloud process and how everything works, and kind of create a custom flow for your company, and see if we can improve any bottlenecks you have, and keep your employees safe while doing so, and hopefully create a great ROI for you.
Definitely, and we'll put that link on the newwarehouse.com as well. So James, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing SmartBOL with us.
Excellent. Thank you very much for having us.
You've been listening to the New Warehouse Podcast with Kevin Lawton. Subscribe and check us out online at thenewwarehouse.com.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want more content from the New Warehouse, check out our new video series called All Hands on LinkedIn. Just search for the New Warehouse on LinkedIn and follow along.